Hey, and welcome back to this week's class, master class on servers and networking. I'm sitting here in a network control room where millions of dollars worth of servers sit running behind me. But what are servers? What exactly are we talking about when we're talking about servers? Now, last week we talked about what things connect to a network, and we talked about MAC addresses and IP addresses and some services that servers provide or can provide, like DHCP, DNS. And of those things, one of these servers behind me does at least that. But what are servers and what are we really talking about? Well, when we're talking about servers, we're really talking about computers. And the piece of junk computer sitting behind me now could just as easily have been servers 10 years ago. They're just computers. Servers have CPUs, have memories, have hard drives, have varying degrees of video cards. Some are called headless and have no video card. You just remote in. Most have some sort of video card in there, but they're just PCs. In fact, prior to 2019, when we got $154,000 worth of servers for $400 from the Air Force, every single one of my servers that I built here at National Trail was really a gaming level PC. It was a high-end motherboard with high-end regular DDR3 or DDR4 RAM. The only thing that made them not a gaming computer really was the fact that they didn't have a gaming video card, but they had the same motherboard, same CPU, same cooling fan, same RAM as what you might put in a high-end gaming computer because they're just PCs. The difference between one of these and a regular PC is really the case, right? It's the way it's manufactured to be inside of a rack for cooling. It's got specific kinds of hard drives that usually are removable so they can come in and come out easily. And as most of you know from helping me move our servers around, you can buy those kind of bays for standard case and make it so you can remove hard drives there as well. So when we're talking about servers, we're talking about computers that provide services that we're going to use from there on out. So let me get out of full screen here because I'm kind of going a little bit crazy there. So we're gonna look at some of the servers we've got here at National Trail. This is I remoted into our vCenter, and all of our PCs and servers are down here on the side. Now in this case, in fact, I'm gonna go to our GAM server here and we'll remote into that one. In this case, these servers are running Windows Server, and the difference between Windows Server running Windows Server and running Windows 10, for instance, it's just the operating system. Windows Server is very much like Windows 10. The only difference is it's running services in server, and there's some basic other differences that allow it to act as a server. When we look at escape out of this real fast. We'll come back to this in a minute. When we look at all these servers that are running in our virtual environment, most of them, if I look at this one, you can say it's Microsoft Windows Server 2016. If I look at this one, it's Microsoft Windows Server 2016. If I look at this one, it's Microsoft Windows Server 2016. I look at this one, it's Microsoft Server, well, that one's 2012, but most of them are very, very similar in nature. And what I'm saying is that we take, just like when we install Windows 10 on a physical PC, we install Windows Server on either a physical PC in some cases or as a virtual machine, which you guys may or may not have gotten a chance to do yet in our class. And unfortunately, you're not going to get to this year, but we will do it more next year because I have a new VM set up just for our classroom stuff. But it's just, and if you look at it, if I'm on the right screen here, it looks very much like Windows 10. So what's the difference? The difference is that when we set it up as a Windows, in this case, Server 2016 machine, and it's just, in very real terms, a PC with a different operating system on it when we get started. Then we add the services and the roles to the server that we want that one in particular to have. Now, we talked about last class about DNS and DHCP. Those are just services that I could add to any Windows server and say, now you've got this service that's running. So when we get into a machine, and let me go to the server manager right here. It's right on the desktop. And I've added absolutely no server roles to this one yet. None. There's no server role running. It is a server. It's running all the time. I could have done what I'm doing with it right now on a Windows 10 machine, quite honestly. But I did it on a Windows Server, so I could add things to it if I wanted to it later. When we go down here to server, I can go to manage up here in the top right hand corner, and you can see I can add roles and features. And when I click on that, let me go full screen here for you because that's kind of crazy. Oh. Well, there we go. View full screen. I want you to be able to read this. So I did manage and I did add roles and features. Once I'm in a Windows Server, I can go through and add whatever roles and features I want to. Now, today, I'm just going to go over some of them. We're not going to add any roles or features today, but I'm going to go over some of the prominent roles and features that we use. And different ones of our servers hold different roles. Now, if you're at a small organization, many times they'll, and this is the way it was when I first got to National Trail, they'll have a server, in this case it was called Trail 1, that did all of the roles and features at one time. One machine did all of them. Now, can I have one machine do all of them for the number of clients that we have at National Trail? And honestly, the answer is yes. Just like I have 8 servers run one virtual machine, I could easily have all those be one physical machine and have all the roles that are happening on those. Now, will it run as well? No, I don't believe so. And what happens when I need to upgrade or make a change to or reboot the system for one role that's going on in my computer? What happens is I reboot everything, right? If I had Trail 1 like it was when I got here set up to do DNS, DHCP, Active Directory, file sharing, print server, it was our FTP server, it did our gradebook software. If I had all those things running on Trail 1, which it was when I got here, and I needed to make an update to the grade software, which requires a restart, then while that's restarting, no one gets on the internet, no one logs onto a machine, no one gets to any of their shares, no one logs in, no one can do anything. And physical machines boot slower than virtual machines as well. So you've got an issue there. The other issue is what happens if the service fails. Printing goes out. Happens every once in a while at National Trail, and the answer is reboot Trail 3. Boom, printing's back in 35 seconds. What if I still had it all on one physical machine? Then for printing, again, I take down everyone's internet. I take down, you're on a Google document, it's gone, kind of thing. So segmenting out your roles and features to different servers allows you to work on that server, do upgrades to it, change things out on it, and only affect that one server. If I was to say at Trail that we're taking down printing between 12 and 12:15, I would get teachers to go, oh, okay. If I told everyone I'm taking down everything that's network related between 12 and 12:15, I would get pushback. And the reason I get pushback because they're using it to teach from, their students are working on Google Documents, people are taking Moodle quizzes. If I was going to take down everything at one time during the day, it would be catastrophic. But just take down one thing. Hey, I'm going to reboot Moodle between 1 and 1:05. Okay, we won't do quizzes between 1 and 1:05. It's not the same as you can't do anything for any amount of time. So anyways, so any machine that you put Windows Server on, then you can specify what specific role or features you wanted to have. So I'm looking down here. I'm going to do role-based or feature-based installation. I'm going to say next. I'm going to do it on this server. So I'm just going to say next. It defaults to the one you're on. And then we've got a whole list of roles, and that's what we get first. Roles are higher level things to add, and features are lower level things to add that we can add. So if we look down here, you can see Active Directory Certificate, Domain Services, Federation Services, Lightweight Directory Services, Device Health, DHCP, DNS. And for instance, you usually put Active Directory, DHCP, and DNS together because if any one of those things are out, they're really all out. So you just put them on the same server. That's one of the few times that you kind of wrap things together. And then you can see a whole list of other things down here, like it's a web server down here. And then you can go, if you don't want to do roles, you can go to features. And then there's tons of features that you can add to to a server. So I guess today's lesson really, what I wanted to make sure that you understood is that, first of all, PCs and servers have very little differences. Servers are just specific PCs with specific kinds of motherboards, with specific kinds of CPUs, maybe specific kind of memory. That's when we get the ECC memory. That's when we get Xeon processors, more likely for servers because they do better with background processes. Difference in the motherboard is almost nothing. You can have removable drives and things like that, but overall, servers are just PCs that you install a different operating system on and have different functionality. There are differences, but you need to just remember it's just a computer. When we talk about putting something in the cloud, it's just a computer that's not here. A lot of people, for some reason, think that cloud services are better than local services. Now, if I've got this server farm behind me and I've got adequate space on it, it could be as good as what we have at school. Could be. It could be better in the data backup regime because obviously there's bajillion drives in this server farm here. But can the PC really be faster? No, it can't. There's a limit to how fast a single CPU can process anything. There's a limit to how much memory can be allocated to any one thing. There's a limit to how fast a hard drive can do it. And when we're using M.2 drives, you can't do any faster than that. It's not possible. So just because it's in the cloud doesn't mean it's better. It may mean that it has more people maintaining it. It may mean that it's got a better backup regime, that they can swap out the drives on the fly, which we cannot do. We have to take down an M.2 drive can't be swapped out on the fly. But it's just a PC with services. So as we move forward in the following segments, we're going to talk about those services specifically, and we're going to go through and install some of those services and set up some of those services. But I just wanted you to understand, servers are just PCs with server-based services running. The first one we're going to look at next class is our main first server for every single environment. That's Active Directory, DHCP, and DNS. Active Directory is what allows us to log on, and it maintains the names of our users, their passwords, and the names of the PCs and the servers that are part of the business network. DHCP, we already talked about last time. It's what allows them all to talk to each other by giving them addresses to speak together with. And DNS allows us to use the naming convention, so I can say I'm going to go to Trail 3 as opposed to 10.66.6. Whatever the address on Trail 3 is. So that's basically all we're going to talk about today. I've already got 15 minutes in, so that's as far as I wanted to go. So I'll see you next class when we talk specifically about Active Directory, DHCP, and DNS, and scopes of addresses that we use to set up a network. Thanks for coming today, and I'll see you guys next class.